had. One of them I remember is from Father Doyle, who was then the principal, a great man, Michael Doyle, which he had Neverland. It used to be called Neverland. You boys present will remember that. I hope I'll remember the tune at least.
I think the musicals were what I liked best. I put them together, I wrote them myself. I stole these songs from all the major musicals, and because I did, I could get a loud song and a gentle song and then a love song and get the speed of it just as I wanted. And I then had to write the script in between, and I had Peter Shave who was able to take up the music, and I used to come back from times back in Australia. I'd come back with records and stuff and play them for Peter, and in that way we put the shows together.
So I was very lucky to be part of a musical, Green Mischief, and it was quite an experience. We stole from everything, particularly from Oliver, the musical on Oliver Twist. And I can remember some of the ones that were very beautiful songs. Was that one about, where is love? Does it fall from skies above? Is it underneath the willow tree that I've been dreaming of?
St. Xaviers Hazaribag was quick to earn a unique reputation. In the mid-60s, when Bokaro Steel started, the plant management requested Father John Moore to set up a school there. Father Moore eagerly took on the challenge. Shoma Chaudhary is an ex-student of the Bokaro school. She is married to a HOXA and now teaches English at St. Xaviers Hazaribag.
Go ahead. Yes, Vasudev? Your sentences.
He is good at studies, especially in maths. He is good at playing football. He is a good athlete. He is good in high jump. He is polite in behavior.
Science laboratories that did the school proud. Father Mulhern, who arrived in 1954, was an MBBS graduate from the University of Sydney, the perfect teacher for science students.
The slides that you can see here, some of the slides still says are made in Germany. So that time, the slides that he had at that time, we have still kept them. And I think today we won't get this quality of slides. Plus the project work, the perfection that he insisted on. Most of them are with us and they are always inspiring us to do the way he used to do things.
Father Mulhern, he was the terror of everyone because he was absolutely, sort of fanatical about neatness. Everything had to be done perfectly. You've probably been taught by Father Mulhern, so you know him. But he taught the boys to be accurate and to be careful, and everyone used to come back and say, because of him, we got through our university much better than others, because he taught us to be correct and accurate and not be slapdash.
A well-established school began to have a rethink on their priorities in the early 70s.
What happened really was a change of focus from our side, from the Society of the Jesuits around the world. There was a Father Arupe. In 1965, he was elected the General of the Society of Jesus. And in 1972, he had what they call General Congregation. And in that, he introduced this, what he called a preferential option for the poor, that in all our apostolates, we should have a preferential option for the poor. That means we consider the poor also as part of the work. And so in those days, people said, here, this school is becoming very expensive because those days prices started going up. And like just the menu the boys had here with meat and eggs and milk and cheese and all, it was becoming impossible to cover with the fees. So every month we were issuing an extra bill to cover the extras, and it was just whatever was spent over and above the fees was divided up among the parents, and we had to pay it. So it was becoming more and more expensive for people to come here. So this was excluding very much poorer children, which we didn't want to do. We wanted to be open to everyone and be able to take poorer children. Secondly, the townspeople were clamouring for admission in this school. They had begun to realise the value of English, that if their children know English, they can go to Aligarh, they can go to Delhi, they can go to Hong Kong, they can go to USA and fit in.
In the end, I think Father John Moore agreed that the future of our schools was day schools. The Bokaro Steel City, of course, had to be a day school, but see, he also realised, which all of us had seen, that Hazaribag was no longer a small town. It was growing and growing, and there was a huge demand for admission. And if we were going to live in the town, then I think we had to listen to them more carefully. Father Grogan, for example, he was in the Lions Club. Father Moore was in the Rotary Club. He used to hear the opinions of the people in the town. And the fact was that over the early years of the school, although there was great respect for the school, there was some resentment that this excellent institution which was growing up was more open to boys from a distance than local boys.
So in view of that, we decided we need to change over to the a more open school, and so we'll have to close down this hostel, although it was very hurtful for people like Father Moore and Father Grogan, because their whole lives had been dedicated to this. And they felt that we are, undermining this quality of the education here, opening it up to the town and so on. You won't get the same quality of students as you have up till now. So we said we have to face that. This is the society's asking us to be open to all, not just to the more elite people, the richer people, but to be open to all classes of people. So that's why we went through this changeover from residential to day school.
During those years also, one of the pressures that had been on us was that we open a Hindi medium school in this area. We had no Hindi medium school here in Hazaribag, so to do that also. So there were a number of pressures and requests coming in. So in the light of all of these, it was decided, all right, the hostel will close and the school will become a day school.
We started St. Robert's, which was here for many years. After the boarding closed, we made St. Robert's the middle school here, St. Robert's, and they ran here till 2001 or 2000. That was a Hindi medium.
Most of the HOXans in those days were from Kolkata, and they had a kind of, I'm not sure, I don't remember the details of it, but they invited, I know Father John Moore was there, Jim Thwaites, myself, and maybe there were others, were invited down to Kolkata to speak to them, to try to explain what was the basis of this decision, because the feeling among them was a feeling of great disappointment I remember they were saying we had hoped that as we enjoyed coming here and benefited from it, so that our children would also benefit from the same thing. So it was a genuine desire and appreciation really of what they had received. So we had this task really of trying to explain why it was that we had closed the boarding. And first of all, I had this idea, it was perhaps a bit idealistic, but I had this idea that you're putting now children that are better off with children who are economically not so well off. I was concerned about whether the better off children would dominate the others and so on. There were a number of considerations like this. So I started by saying we will have only one football team, for example. We will have only one cricket team. In other words, I was trying to get the idea that we're a community, a kind of reflection of the bigger society, and therefore we would have just one community, some better off, some doing English medium, some doing Hindi medium, and so on. This sort of, but perhaps a bit idealistic. So after a number of years at this, we decided, no, we'll just have two separate kind of schools.
The parish or the Catholic ashram was where Father Kevin Grogan took charge from the day he arrived in Hazaribag.
है 2005 में जो आप देख रहे हैं ट्रांसफिगरेशन सब्जेक्ट से मुझे बनाने के लिए दिया गया, तो उसी से मैं कुछ बनाया जो अभी आपके सामने है। उसके बाद इधर देखिए राइट साइड में वो कुलवरी है जो झारखंड के प्रदेश को दर्शा रहा है, यहाँ पर अधिकतर कोयला मिलता है। उसके बाद इधर मेरे बाएं साइड ये है झारखंड का जो प्राकृतिक दृश्य है वही दिखाया जा गया है। फेस का जो लुक है वो फॉरेनर जैसा नहीं लगना चाहिए, जो भी होगा हमारा इंडियन लुक आना चाहिए जीसस के फेस में।
Two generations of the Dhans are connected to St. Xaviers. Abraham's father, Daud Dhan, worked as a kitchen staff, and his mother still works in the school. The school chapel has also undergone a transformation, with figures and murals getting the Indian touch. Christ as a Satguru. Despite the many changes over the years, the sporting spirit of the school continues.
We, the students of St. Xaviers, promise that we will take part in the 55th annual sports meet
House, second Shahidil Anwar Khan Widow House, and third
for the top hero, former secretary. We cheers for Xavier House! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray!
From today's assembly, what did you learn? Very good. United we stand and divided we fall. Very good. So that means you need to be together. Yes? Is there any chance to fight if you are together? No. So you have to live that in your life, not only today, a days ahead also. Okay? God bless all.
The introduction of the primary school was a backward integration of the school's education system.
When I went there, they added a prep and a standard 1, which I don't think existed before that. I think the school started at standard 2 then.
We are the musicians, come from fairy land. I can play, you can play. On a trumpet, toot 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 toot. Toot 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 toot.
Changes occurred in the school syllabus also.
Since the school became open to more and more boys of Hazaribag town and its environs, the standard of English was not as high as it used to be among the boys, standard of spoken English, because they were all living at home and talking either Hindi, Bengali or Bhojpuri or whatever was in their homes. So there was complaints among the staff that English was going down a bit. Secondly, from a lot of the students who had gone on to universities, they were complaining that CBSE students were given higher gradings in admission to universities. Now, at about that time, Father Tom Konunkel, who had started, well, he hadn't started, he was the first principal of St. Xaviers Delhi. He became the chairman of the Central Board of Education. So I paid him a visit and discussed the whole thing. And he sort of analysed it for me and said he thought that for a Mufassal school in a small, up-country town, as Hazaribag was then, probably a CBSE school would be better. So with this information, I